What's going on, YouTube? My name is Ralph.
And my name is Chappette.
And together we are the JPs.
JPs.
And as always, we want to thank you guys for tuning in every single week. A big special shout out to our faithful viewers who's been with us since we dropped our first episode up until today. We thank you. We appreciate you so much.
Yes, thank you so much to everyone who's been watching and sharing and subscribing. We ask that if you like the message, continue to share with friends, family members, everyone that you know. Continue to share it so we can continue to get the message across.
Absolutely. You know, there's nothing wrong with going up to a random stranger that you don't know and be like, 2 hearts, 1 beat, baby. 2 hearts, 1 beat. Do you know about that 2 hearts, 1 beat? 2 hearts, 1 beat, baby. So please continue to help us share this message.
Yes.
If you like what we're doing, tell a friend to tell that friend.
And all your friends.
To tell all your friends. So we can continue to spread the message. So we're going to get right into it today. We're going to talk about a topic, and I'm going to warn you and tell you that Chappette and I, we've taken probably a not so popular stance on this 3-word phrase. Very popular. You probably heard it. And it goes a little something like this. Love is blind. Yeah, we're going to go no on that one. Yeah, we're going to go right into it and go, yeah, no, it's not. Love is not blind. We are. And I'm going to tell you why.
So I'm going to get a little nerdy with you guys. We're going to go over the scientific aspect of that phrase. So when it comes to love is blind in that phrase, so there's a psychological aspect as well as a neurological aspect to it. So with the neurological aspect, it's essentially stating that certain parts of the brain is deactivated when we fall in love. So you may lose, reasoning will decrease, logical reasoning. So there's certain character flaws that you'll let slide. And also in that neurological aspect is the cortisol that's released. So the cortisol, of course, creates the excitement and you loss of vision, not necessarily vision for eyesight, but loss of vision because of all that increased excitement that you have, that euphoric feeling that you have when you fall in love with someone. So that's that one piece to love is being blind on the scientific method. And as far as the psychological aspect of things, it's basically saying that you're negating the negative traits because you see a more idealized image of that person. So you see the person flaws, many flaws, but you tend to negate that because there's an ideal person that you would rather that person be. Yeah, so what happens is you ignore reality. You have a person in front of you that's current reality, but when they do things, and when we say flaws, we're not saying that someone needs to be perfect, because we all have flaws, but I'm talking flaws that are not productive for your relationship. You know it, I know it, they know it, but because you're in that love is blind phase, you choose to ignore those flaws. And in the psychological aspect of it is you put on your ideal version of that person, and you ignore the reality of who that person is, right? So that's why we say love is not blind. We are, because we see the things that are not going so well, but we choose to ignore them. Now, if you're in that phase of love is blind, there's some signs that you may be swimming in that, right? Ideally, we'd want you to stop swimming and get out of that, right? But here are some signs that you may be in that phase of love is blind. One of them is you are extremely detached to trusted friends and family members. Now, I'm not just talking about random people. I'm talking about trusted family members and trusted friends. It's the mindset that really everyone around you can see that this person is probably not right for you. Are people wrong sometimes? Yes, they are. But I'm talking in a case where everybody is telling you the same thing, that this person, this joker ain't no good. This joker is not right for you. But you're choosing to go with, no, I'm going to ignore that. I'm going to put that to the side because love is blind, baby. Love is blind. So that's one of those things where you become distant from people that you care for, people that care for you, and people that you love and trust. Right. Another aspect of it as well is people pleasing, or focusing on pleasing that one individual. So, of course, it's okay to want to please the person that you're with, but when it becomes detrimental to yourself, Now that's where we have the problem. So
Yeah.
with when love is blind, or you feel like you're in love, a sign of being blind to that love is you just forget about yourself, you forget about everyone else, you focus on that person, only that person. There's logical aspects that you lose of yourself. You just negate yourself and focus on that individual, and at that point, gotta be careful.
Right. Another one could be that you make big decisions too quickly or too early. Now we're talking that really about someone that you just met, and it's just like, man, things are just happening quickly, and everybody's like, yo, listen, you need to slow down a little bit, take some time to consider this and think about this. And you're like, no. You're choosing to ignore things, and you're jumping into these big time decisions very quickly and very early. That could be a sign that you're in that love is blind, baby. I like that. Love is blind. Yeah, that could be a sign right there.
And another sign is overlooking these obvious red flags and character flaws that just will not work for your relation, that will not work for your future, the future that you want to have. Overlooking those red flags, and at the same rate, constantly making excuses for obvious bad behaviors. Obvious bad behaviors that this person may have. So if you see yourself caught in that, you need to reflect for sure.
You make excuses that make your friends go, huh? What? You say things that make no sense to no one except for you. Right? So you want to make sure that you evaluate that. If you keep having to make excuses for someone, then that means they keep making the offenses. So at some point, you can't just say love is blind and not address it.
Right.
You have to have a conversation about it. So those are some things that could show signs of you're in that love is blind. I don't know. I like that.
I think you like it a lot.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. So where does that phrase come from? So we did a little digging. We went super nerdy on you earlier. Gonna add a little bit more nerd. It comes from, one of the origins of it is from a play by William Shakespeare, very famous man, William Shakespeare, The Merchant of Venice. And it was saying, there's a line, one of the characters said, love is blind, and lovers cannot see themselves the follies that they commit, right? Something along those lines. I'm paraphrasing, but that's where it comes from. And follies are like, nonsense, things that we do that we shouldn't do. And it's the idea of, we see them, but we don't, we do them, but we don't see them.
Right.
The follies that we commit, and we're just, or other people commit, and we're just completely oblivious to what it is that's going on. And that idea has, transpired into our culture, and it has spread into our culture, and we keep saying things like love is blind. Reason why Chappelle and I, we take the stance of love is not blind is because the conversations that we've had with couples, we've had conversations with a lot of couples, and we usually, when we talk to a couple that has a healthy or strong marriage that's lasted, and it doesn't have to be a lasting one, but a current thriving one, we don't hear them say love is blind. We don't hear that. Usually when we hear love is blind, it's with a couple that made some mistakes and the relationship didn't go well. And when we ask things like, what happened? And it can be when they say things like, well, love is blind, I did this. Love is blind, I did that.
I allowed this to happen because love is blind. So there's several excuses behind it, but that's when we actually hear the phrase.
So we don't go with love is blind. What we do is we take a biblical standpoint on the definition of love. And one of the best definitions of love out there that I've found is in 1 Corinthians 13, verse 4, and you can go all the way down to verse 13. It says, love is kind, love is patient, it does not envy, it does not boast. And it continues to talk more about love. And we have adopted that as our definition of what love is. It doesn't say love is blind. I don't believe love has ever been blind. I believe that we have been blind. We see and we choose to ignore certain things. Yeah.
So when we were coming up with this topic, the one song kept coming to mind. So when I was younger, EVE had a song. She had a song that was titled Love is Blind.
Just so you guys know, EVE is subscribed to Two Hearts One Beat, and she watches our videos every week.
I'm sorry for the false advertisement.
Damn, my bad, Eve. Oh man, Eve, I'm just playing. But I'm pretty sure there's somebody out there named Eve that watches.
I'm sure. I hope. I know a couple Eves, so we'll get them to watch.
But if you share the video enough, then maybe EVE will watch the video. Two Hearts One Beat, baby. Love is not blind. You were saying
so.
Something.
Yes. So back to EVE's song. So her song is titled "Love Is Blind." The song back in the early 2000s, maybe 90s, I'm not sure. And of course, at the time, didn't understand what it meant. But there's I was listening to it again when we were in preparation for the video, and there's a strong line that said, what you think is love is truly not. You need to elevate and find.
Yeah.
So
That's deep.
That's, to me, that was really, really deep. And it goes to show that love is not blind. So you can think it's love, but like the song said, it's not.
Yeah, you need
it
to
really
elevate,
is not.
elevate and find, because love is not blind. Love has never been blind. But if you choose to ignore the obvious flaws and the obvious red flags, then you can fall into a situation where things don't go so well. You end up saying love is blind. What we need to do is take more responsibility, more accountability. Understand that when you first fall in love, there's a lot of euphoria. Right. There's a lot of, as Chapette was saying earlier, there's a lot of disconnect that happens with the brain. Understand that, realize that. And then as time goes by, continue to activate your critical thinking skills as far as, does this make sense?
Right.
Will this work? Will this love be good? It's not about perfection, but it's about making sure that the person you're with, it's going to work. They're in it for the long run and not just for play. Love is blind, baby. Yeah, so make wise decisions, as we always say. That's what we hope for every couple, every relationship out there. To not go off of euphoria, to not go off of love is blind, but to watch your love grow.
Yes.
And continue to thrive, continue to strive. We want to thank you guys for tuning in. That's our take on Love is Blind. We're going to say love is not blind. We are. So we need to open your eyes and watch your love grow. We a fool. Or maybe I'm the fool.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you guys for tuning in. See you next week.